The Polar Star is the most powerful non-nuclear icebreaker on Earth. It's also 50 years old, held together by handmade parts, and the only heavy icebreaker the United States owns. So, where's its replacement? The Polar Star is a rusting 13,500-ton ghost ship that should have been scrapped 2 decades ago. But replacement after replacement was stalled, year after year, and nothing got built. Then, 2024 hit. Healy, the only other polar-capable vessel, almost died in an electrical fire. It forced her to limp home on a single shaft. And Polar Star? In dry dock, getting maintenance. The strongest nation on Earth was completely helpless, watching Russia's nuclear fleet carve white highways through the polar cap, while America couldn't move a single ship. In fairness to America, moving this particular ship is no easy feat. 399 feet, 13,500 tons. That's how big Polar Star is. For context, that's the length of a full football field and then some. And 13,500 tons? That's roughly the weight of 9,000 cars. She wasn't built to break ice, she was built to dominate it, or at least she used to. Now she's 2 full decades past her 30-year expiration date. A floating relic of 1970s engineering still performing 21st century miracles. Her early life was a mechanical horror show. On her very first ice trials in 1976, both wing propellers failed. An autopsy revealed catastrophic damage to the links, bearings, and drive pins. Propeller problems plagued her clear through 1988, eventually triggering a warranty fight with Lockheed. By 2006, she was so worn out that the Coast Guard parked her in caretaker status, and only a roughly $57 million reactivation in 2012 brought her back from the dead. Every year, she has one job: Operation Deep Freeze. Carve a 20-mile channel through the Ross Sea. Resupply McMurdo Station, the beating heart of America's Antarctic research. Fuel, food, survival. If she fails, McMurdo goes dark. Just one rusting ghost ship holding the entire U.S. Antarctic program on its back. You might be thinking, so what? Send the supplies by plane, problem solved. And sure, the rest of the Coast Guard will be fine without Polar Star. They've got coastlines to defend, search and rescue, drug interdiction. The real missions. But here's what you're missing. The Arctic is becoming more important by the day. According to the Arctic Council, the number of unique ships operating in Arctic waters has jumped 37% since 2013, roughly 500 additional vessels per year. Why the surge? For starters, the Arctic offers a remarkably efficient shipping shortcut. When weather permits, a voyage from Asia to Europe via the Northern Sea route takes about 20 days. The same trip through the Suez Canal? 30 to 35 days. That's nearly 2 weeks shaved off. Yes, the ice and weather don't always cooperate, but with the right vessel, it's a game changer for global trade. Then, there are the resources. The Arctic is packed with oil, natural gas, minerals, and fish. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates that 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas and 13% of its undiscovered oil lie north of the Arctic Circle. That's not a lot, that's a fortune. And then there's the military piece, the part no one wants to say out loud. The same geography that shortens shipping routes also shortens flight paths for long-range missiles and bombers. America's rivals haven't missed this. The U.S. needs to establish a real presence in the Arctic, and it's never been more urgent. But with only 2 barely functional icebreakers, one past retirement and the other catching fire, a reliable presence is near impossible. And while the Coast Guard has just commissioned a 3rd icebreaker, Storis is a converted oil supply ship bought off the shelf, and it's a stopgap, not a fix. That's the present. But to understand it fully, here's the past. Before she was a rusting ghost ship, Polar Star was a Cold War weapon. Built to dominate, built to last. Built by Lockheed, the same company that now builds F-35s. She and her sister ship, the Polar Sea, were given a 30-year operational lifespan. But Polar Star? She's 2 decades past her expiration date and still running. That doesn't happen by luck, it happens by design. Brilliant, brutal 1970s engineering. Let's start with the hull. To survive the crushing pressure of the frozen sea, her designers gave her a unique, rounded hull, wrapped in special low-temperature steel, 1.75 inches thick at the bow. Instead of slicing through ice like a blade, she does something stranger. She rides up onto it. Her own 13,500 tons do the rest, crushing from above. That's the trick. That's how she survives. But surviving isn't enough. She has to move. Inside, she's part warship, part laboratory. 5 labs, accommodations for 35 scientists, and J-shaped cranes for studying everything from volcanoes to sea ice physics. She carries enough fuel for long polar deployments and bunks for a crew of around 140, plus light armament, modest teeth for a ship whose real weapon is her own mass. Now, forget the armament. The Polar Star is the most powerful non-nuclear icebreaker on the planet. Not one of them, thanks to something called COD-LOG, combined diesel, electric, or gas. During a normal cruise, 6 diesel generators feed electricity to the propulsion motors. Boring, reliable. Then, there's the other function. 3 Pratt & Whitney FT4 marine gas turbines, derived from the same J-75 turbojet that powered the Boeing 707 and the Lockheed U-2 spy plane. Aviation-grade engines, strapped into a ship. Together, they scream out 75,000 shaft horsepower. What does that mean in real terms? She can chew through 6 feet of ice at a steady 3 knots. And when she hits a ridge up to 21 feet thick, she backs up, rams it, and smashes through. A brutal, bone-shaking technique called backing and ramming. All of it, 9 generators and 3 turbines, is managed by a computerized propulsion system from the 1970s, the same decade disco died. And here's the beauty of this ship. She's seen things. Security duty for the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Rescued a cruise ship trapped in the Southern Ocean. Sailed all 5 oceans. Visited 60 ports across 6 continents. Circumnavigated North America, South America, Antarctica, and what else? Oh yeah, the entire planet. She was built to replace the Wind-class icebreakers, ships from the 1940s, World War II relics. Now, Polar Star's as old as the ship she replaced. She didn't just outlast her predecessor, she watched her sister die. And then, she started eating her. In 2010, the Polar Sea blew her engines and was sidelined for good. But they didn't scrap her. They parked her in a Seattle shipyard, a corpse, a donor. Because the Polar Star needs parts that no longer exist, valves, relays, heavy engine components, all 1970s tech, all out of production. So, Coast Guard engineers did something that sounds like science fiction. They board the corpse, strip out whatever still works, and transplant it into the living ship. But even with her fallen sister's guts keeping her alive, the Polar Star is falling apart. Toilets jam and overflow. Rust eats everything. Lead paint peels from the walls and toxic flaking sheets. Engine seals blow, oil slicking the decks. Then, it gets worse. 2018, a propulsion shaft seal ruptures. The engine room floods with 20 gallons of ice-cold seawater per minute. 2019, another shaft seal leaked, this time 18 miles from McMurdo. Then, weeks later, a fire breaks out in the incinerator room, 650 miles from anywhere. 4 fire extinguishers fail. The crew spends nearly 2 hours putting it out by hand. Polar Star is in such shocking disarray and malfunction that crew members have reportedly searched eBay for replacement parts. One coastie patched a generator with a surfboard repair kit. It worked. One coastie put it this way: "You can tell she's ready to quit, but she can't. She's like a cranky old Texas woman. You never want to talk bad about her. You just want to call her beautiful every day, and she'll work fine for you." That's the ship over 1,000 people at McMurdo depend on for food, fuel, and survival, along with her own over 140 crew members. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic shut down McMurdo's research season. The Polar Star pulled off a maneuver she hadn't done in nearly 4 decades. Her first winter cruise into the Arctic since 1982. Her captain joked that the crew was trading penguins for polar bears and the southern lights for the northern ones. The Arctic is a different beast for her hull entirely. Instead of the flat, fast ice she's used to in Antarctica, Arctic floes get smashed by wind into towering pressure ridges of dense, salt-leached multi-year ice that fights back. In her latest seasons, she's even pulled off a rescue mission. She freed an Australian cruise ship pinned in pack ice near McMurdo Sound during her 29th annual deployment. A half-century-old icebreaker bailing out a modern tourist liner. So, what's the plan for her replacement? $5 billion. That's the price tag, and even that's a mess. The plan to replace the Polar Star was supposed to be simple. It wasn't. What started as a hopeful reboot of American polar power has become a horror story of bureaucracy and broken promises. In 2019, the mission seems straightforward. Build a new fleet of heavy icebreakers. 3 ships, call them Polar Security Cutters. First delivery, 2024. Total price, roughly $1.9 billion. Simple, right? Wrong. Years of design instability, shipyard chaos, technical nightmares. The first ship, now named Polar Sentinel, won't see service until 2030, at the earliest. That's 6 years late. And the price? $5.1 billion. Nearly triple the original $1.9 billion estimate, for ships that don't even exist yet. America started with a plan, then a delay, then another delay, then a price hike, then another, and still, 0 new icebreakers. America needed a Hail Mary. Then, out of nowhere, one arrived. November 2024. The US signed the Ice Pact with Finland and Canada to coordinate icebreaker design and shipbuilding capacity, because America couldn't build its own way out of this one. Then, on July 4, 2025, the Coast Guard received the largest funding boost in its history, $25 billion, part of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The money is going into 2 tracks. Track 1, 3 Polar Security Cutters, the Polar Star replacements, finally. Track 2, up to 11 Arctic Security Cutters, medium icebreakers, cheaper, faster. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Coast Guard wants these 360-foot-long Arctic Security Cutters to cut through 3 feet of ice and to carry a flight deck and hangar for an HH-60 helicopter capable of rescue and resupply missions. But the most important feature isn't firepower or range, it's speed of production. These cutters can be built quickly because the Coast Guard isn't reinventing the wheel. Instead, they're using an already foolproof design from Finland, a country that has designed roughly 80% of the world's icebreakers and built 60% of them. Here's the production plan. 2 cutters will be built in Finland, delivery 2028. 4 cutters will be built in Louisiana, delivery 2029. Then, in February 2026, another contract was signed to build 5 more. Out of these, Finland builds 2 more on a different but proven design. American shipbuilders watch, learn, then take that knowledge back to Texas to build the next 3. So ships are coming, but ships need places to dock. August 2025, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers signs a $400 million contract to convert the port of Nome, Alaska into a deep water port. Why does that matter? Nome sits closer to the Arctic Circle than Anchorage, then Dutch Harbor, than any existing deep water port. It's a strategic missile right on Russia's doorstep. Once complete, larger Coast Guard and Navy vessels have a critical stopping point in the high north. First phase due 2029. And the Navy? They're reopening a forgotten Alaskan base. Plus, a joint base at Elmendorf-Richardson is designed to handle any military aircraft in any weather. Blizzards, ice, doesn't matter. The message is clear. After decades of neglect, the Arctic is finally becoming a priority. The only question is whether the US can catch up before Polar Star gives out. The Polar Star will fail. Not maybe. Soon. A seal will blow. A turbine will crack. And the old girl will finally say, no more. On that day, America has 0 heavy icebreakers. McMurdo loses its lifeline. The Arctic becomes a spectator sport. Russia and China carve the polar frontier while the US watches from the bench. The good news? Washington finally noticed. The Ice Pact, $25 billion, new cutters on the horizon, ships are coming. The bad news? They're not here yet. The Polar Star has given us 20 years of overtime, patched, prayed over, propped up by her dead sister's organs. But she can't do it forever. And when she finally stops, we'd better have something ready to take her place. Every project has a hidden problem. We find it every time. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.